What makes you instantly hate a person? I hate when people are argumentative about their opinions, but refuse to even process counter-arguments. They either completely ignore what you say or they cherry pick a phrase to misconstrue. In either case they essentially just restate their original argument. This is all 10x more infuriating when they do this with an air of smugness or superiority. Or you drill down on their position and they just refuse to engage and support their own statements, but instead go with deflection and try to change the subject. This quote applies to so many who operate in bad faith. Never believe that anti-Semites are completely unaware of the absurdity of their replies. They know that their remarks are frivolous, open to challenge, but they are amusing themselves, for it is their adversary who is obliged to use words responsibly, since he believes in words. The anti-Semites have the right to play. They even like to play with discourse for, by giving ridiculous reasons, they discredit the seriousness of their interlocutors. They delight in acting in bad faith, since they seek not to persuade by sound argument, but to intimidate and disconcert. If you press them too closely, they will abruptly fall silent, loftily indicating by some phrase that the time for argument is past. Jean-Paul Sartre. This totally describes a lot of trolls on Reddit. They say stupid thoughtless things to make people respond to them and then use these exact tactics. Arguing can be really fun, but if people refuse to be open-minded to other views, then you just reach a standstill where all the two of you can do is make fun of each other, which is no fun. Being open to new views doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. It just means that you're willing to understand the reasoning behind it. A lot of people don't want to understand the reasoning behind the opposing view, because they have already established the opposing view as bad. Yes, exactly. Allowing your mind to wander and hold new positions is a great way to either I, legitimately strengthen your initial argument or 2, expand your understanding. The biggest reason why it's a complete waste of time to argue with people on the internet. Every time I do it I end up kicking myself, because I'm an idiot for doing it at all. Open mouth, closed mind. This, especially when they use history out of context as in facts that simply aren't true to debate. Reading does not kill you. The AP World History book isn't just for high school kids. People who speed up when you put on your turn signal. Also people who don't use turn signals. You know what? Honestly just people driving in general makes me hate them. Someone who takes great joy in making as much noise as possible super early in the morning when everyone is trying to get some sleep, so that they also wake up. My mother does this. She has this I'm awake so everyone should be thing. Passive aggressive and rude. People who try to befriend you by talking others to create an us versus them dynamic. No, I don't hate other co-worker, because they were a bit grumpy one day or wore an ugly t-shirt. I do however now hate you for trying to drag me into your it. And you immediately know they do the same thing to other people about you. Oh big time. My boss pulls this a lot. The just between you and me. Yes I absolutely believe I'm the only one you gossip with. Good old divide and conquer. This. I didn't realize how many of my old fake friends did this at the beginning. You remind me of someone who was complimenting my phone in order to make me do something for him. People who read one article online and then instantly post and shame the people it talks about. Didn't see the latest obscure study on chicken-based dog food? Well frick you. You hate your dog and are a monster. I think some people go out of their way to be judgmental. Tell you what the article said? No, I only had time to skim the title, because I'm far too busy smugly telling people they're killing their pets. Ugh. My mum does this all the time. She'll read a headline and just go ugh, we're so screwed or something. If I ask her for details or tell her to go more in depth she just goes I don't know, I'll send this to you. I've made it a point to do that whenever she gets in a headline ready mood. I wouldn't say hate, but I'll lose all respect for people who litter. Be a decent human being and throw your trash in a garbage bin you waste of breath. True. Once had a guy litter on our first date at the table we were eating at outside. Was an immediate no thank you after that. I had a date do that, and I was all, aren't you going to pick that up? And he said with a straight face, they pay people to pick trash up. First and last date for me too. I think I'd just get up and leave. I had a co-worker at an office lunch refuse to contribute to the tip, declaring, if wait staff want more money they should get a real job. Soon after he lost his. Glad you ended it after that. When I try to connect with someone over a shared hobby, interest, and they shoot me down with some superiority complex. Cool Darth Vader shirt. I love Star Wars. You love Star Wars, huh? What was Watto's cousin Stitch's home world's regional governor's bodyguard's name? You Deontay K now. What a pune. The irony is that Watto's cousin Stitch's home world's regional governor's bodyguard's name was Pune. Pune? Pune what? Skywalker. Roll credits. Actually it's Pune your leg. I'm such an idiot. I almost looked this up. If they legit insult someone and then say it was just a joke, why can't you take a joke when the other person gets upset instead of saying that they're sorry? Ah yes, Scrodinger's jerk, the guy who says something offensive, then decides if he was joking based on the reaction of those around him. Holy crap, how have I not heard the phrase Scrodinger's jerk until now? That is absolutely perfect. It even goes for douches who make way too forward sexual advances to women then try to say they were kidding when it backfires. A guy knew someone in school who was so terrible about this. He was generally a very offensive and ouchy person. He would say so many things that were just downright mean and had basically no room for interpretation, but would try to play it off with an exasperated ugh. It was a joke. Or that was sarcasm when it definitely wasn't. He was such a miserable person to be around. I'm so glad that I haven't even seen him since graduation. It was an actively painful experience to be around him. I hate her, this is just the way I am type of person. I don't have a filter. I'm just an AOLA who doesn't have tact or social awareness. Sorry, I'm just a Scorpio. No Karen, you're just a bitch. What's worse is when Karen is like teehee. Sorry not sorry, I'm just a bitch. Frick you Karen. Anyone who thinks they have some sort of authority over me when they don't. They usually don't know I hate them, because I remain super nice all the time, but I wouldn't do anything to help them. Oof, this. These are usually people who think I'm a bitch, but it's gotten me far in life. I knew this little 20-year-old bartender who was so rude to the servers and talked down to everyone, even 40-year-olds, and just thought really highly of herself. I could sense this within hours of my first shift. Sounds exactly like a bartender I worked with. Rude to the customers, to the other staff, to everyone except the manager who thought she was just feisty BC. She toned down the bitchiness by like 75% when he was around. Customers sometimes would complain about her to me and I would literally just tell them I'm sorry, none of us like her either. People who don't pick up after themselves in public, because that's not their job. Actually, in my country there's a fun movie tether campaign about this topic. A couple is leaving the cinema and the girl says to the guy, why you don't pick up your litter? Don't know how to tell it, just the vase for soda and the thing where the popcorn is served. And the guy says that's not my job. The guy's mum hears it miles away being at her home. So, she throws her chancla and it travels 4 many places to the cinema, to slaps guy's face. Then the mum says I didn't raise lazy rude children. It's great. Everybody fears la chancla. When someone refuses to look at the other side of an argument, then don't talk about US politics with anyone. The most satisfying thing in America is having a political discussion with someone that ends in understanding, instead of hatred. Oh god. I tiptoe around those conversations with my scent, even if I think I'm pretty sure that they're are leaning. People nowadays are like those blackouts with the fuses that are so super short. You want to light it just to see if you can throw it before it blows up in your hand. Alternatively, you want to say nah, frick it, not worth the few moments of discomfort. It's called intellectual humility, and the loss of it in our culture is the root of all our problems. Chronic interrupting. Anyone who wants to jump in with but I have X, Y, Z problem that means I'm special and can't learn to control my chronic interrupting. Save it. I know it's probably unfair that I hate you and I don't care. My mum's partner does this. You can be halfway through a polite conversation because you don't want to be there in the first place, and all of a sudden that happened to me and I think I can speak for everyone. Apostrophe. Yeah, I wasn't actually finished talking. Purely anecdotal observation. I've noticed this seems to coincide with people who come from a large family. They learn at a young age they have to talk over other people to get in a word in edgewise, and never grow out of it. It's a small sample size, but the 3 worst interrupters I know come from families of 5, and 9 kids. I've only recently arrived at this observation, so perhaps more data points might blow it out of the water, but it's my current working theory.